Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We come to you for this Football Friday for Week 15. Down the stretch we go. 4 weeks to go. Lot of playoff spots still to be won. Really, this is going to be crazy in terms of some of these tiebreakers for the wild card and some of the division stuff. It could get very interesting, really. And who you play is going to matter. I'll get into that a little bit. Now, everybody plays some very big games. Bills and the Pats, Lions and the Rams, um, Colts trying to see if they can somehow get anything out of the quarterback play and right the ship as they go to Seattle as a huge underdog. Um, Interesting games. Even the Dolphins and the Steelers, because the Dolphins, they're not going to make the playoffs, especially when you look at their conference record. But you know what? They've won 5 out of 6, and they're dangerous, and they will get the Steelers on Monday night. Vikings and the Cowboys on Sunday night. Vikings played better last week, but I don't trust them at all. But let's get to it. Run it down. Quarterback issues. I'll get to some again. A lot of injury issues. Talk about head coaches, guys going, guys staying, etc., etc. Now, Commanders. I have no idea why they put Daniels back in. That made no sense. I mean, that's the kind of move if you're a head coach. If I were an owner, I'd be furious. I mean, what are you thinking about? And I would, if I were an owner, I'd put the kibosh on it. Why do I want him playing now? It's not like he has anything to prove. Look what he did last year. He's had multiple injuries. And now you put him back out there and get him hurt again. I mean, enough. They come in to play the Giants. Darts talking about winning 4 straight. Hey, Dart's going to win a couple of games here. I know people talking about the Giants having the number 1 pick. I don't see it because then the Giants on the schedule they play are not going winless. Dart's going to win a couple of these games. They got some bad teams coming in. So, and I think they'll win this week as an example, as they open up this week. And Dart has talked about running the table. He wants to win games. And I think he's going to win a couple. I just think he's going to make the difference in a couple. The Jets, and we don't know what's going on with their quarterback situation. So we'll have to wait till Sunday for that. We can name 3 guys. One of them's going to start. They're going to wish they didn't playing the Jags. Jags are 9-4, having a big year under Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence doing the job, defense doing the job, very rugged defense. Teams going to the playoffs, and they're going to manhandle the Jets. That's all there is to it. No matter who quarterbacks are going to manhandle them. That's just I don't see this as a good matchup. Browns, I'm actually tired of talking about Sanders as a quarterback. Let him play the last couple of games. He's a rookie quarterback. Let him play. Last week, he had a pretty good game. They lost. He had a pretty good game. Okay, they played the Titans last week. All right, now they play the Bears. Let's see how he plays this week. Bears, 9-4. It's amazing if you look at that last play. First of all, I was shocked they didn't run the ball. Secondly, he's got the underneath receiver for a touchdown, wide open. Hey, it happens. But they showed me something. They moved the ball with authority late in that game. They are a handful late in the game, and you know what? They headed for their 10th win this week. Ravens 6-7, Bengals 4-9. Not an easy game for the Ravens, who have to keep trying to win. And the Ravens have the Bengals, the Pats, the Packers, and the Steelers. Not easy. In Cincy this week, then the Pats, then at the Packers, and the Packers are in a dogfight for the division for the number 1 seed, and then the Steelers for maybe everything for the division. Ravens looked a little better last week. Lamar looked a little better last week. Now you get to Burrow. I'm sure you saw what went on with Burrow. This is what I believe this is. There are very few injuries that are more painful or harder to deal with than the toe injury. That's a bad one. Mark Bavaro had one. They actually had to take the nerve out of his toe, out of his big toe. Burrow has been dealing with this nagging toe injury among other injuries, but the nagging toe injury. He's been hurt a lot. I don't know if it's fatigue with pain management. I don't know if it's what it is, but he started talking about how football has to be fun. He started talking about off the field issues. He got a little dark in his press conference, which kind of shook everybody up. This is a great player. He's not a good player. This is a great player. They've had trouble keeping him healthy. When he's healthy, he can be a magical player. Um, I don't know what's going on in his head right now, but it bears some watching. It really does. Last week, he has the Bills beat before he throws that first of two incredibly puzzling interceptions. I know it was the snow. I know you're trying to get a feel on a ball that's kind of on a wet, inclement day. But to have two of those at the line of scrimmage after having such a brilliant game, hard to fathom. Really was. Chargers and the Chiefs. Chiefs lose a crazy game. I know everyone went nuts about Andy Reid. Listen, I think Andy Reid was going to go on fourth down the way his defense was playing, the way Houston's offense was playing, and he was going to go on fourth down inside his own 30-yard line with 9 minutes left in the game in a tie game? I did not. Now, Andy, I went and watched his post-game press conference. He made a good point. We've had a lot of success on fourth down. Kudos. We know how much he wants to put the ball in Mahomes' hands. If any coach has earned the right to make a bold, even outrageous call, it is Andy Reid. This team has won 9 straight division titles, has gone to 7 straight AFC title games, has been to 5 Super Bowls and won 3. He has had a decade unlike anything most coaches have ever dreamed about. He's one of the winningest coaches of all time. He is this far from being an immortal coach, not a Hall of Fame coach. That's long gone. Immortal coach. He can do what he wants. Now, he took the blame for it and said, I screwed up. Hey, it was a puzzling thing. I'll tell you this. The admiration I have for the Chiefs for the way they came out in the second half of that game. Number one, I want to make a couple of points about that game. Number one, they're down 10-0. They have no offensive line, no tackles. They come up with a way to block the Texans in the third quarter. Great adjustment. Number two, Spags just went on a full attack. And Houston sat there the entire third quarter and did not make one offensive adjustment. Not one. Not one in personnel, not one in play calling, not a single adjustment. And Spag just said, okay, you fools are going to let me rush 7, I'll run 8. And they took every play and stuffed it down their throat. He couldn't complete a pass. They couldn't get a first down. They couldn't gain a yard. And Chris Jones showed you why he's an all-time great. Did you see the ferocity with which he played and led in the third quarter of that game with the playoffs on the line? It was memorable. It really was. Now, the Chiefs have to run the table and get a little break. There's about a 20% chance they can make the playoffs. Their schedule is not easy. Okay? It's not crazy. They have the Chargers this week, a game I think they'll win. Then they have the Titans, a game they will win. Then they have the Broncos. Then they have the Raiders. So they have 2 wins this week and then the Broncos. They have to beat the Broncos. They have to win all 4 games. I think they'll win 3 of them. I just don't know if they'll win the Bronco game. The Chargers have a 9-4, but they have a very tough schedule. They have the Chiefs this week, then the Cowboys on the road, then the Texans, then Denver on the road. And Denver's fighting for the 1 seed. They've won the division, but they're fighting for the 1 seed. Bills 9-4, Pats 11-2. How good are the Pats? Can the Bills defense stand up? How about the quarterback duel? Now, the Pats have a very good cushion in the division. They're undefeated in the division. The Bills have lost twice. They have a 2.5 game lead. They've beaten the Pats once. They have Baltimore, the Jets, and Miami left. The Bills have Cleveland, Philly, and the Jets after this game. Bills are going to make the playoffs, but they're going to have to do it from the road. They're not going to win the division. Raiders, who are, I think right now, when you look at all the problems, probably the worst team in the league. Geno Smith's out. Pickett's in the quarterback. They go on the road to play the Eagles. The question now is, does Pete Carroll get another year next year? Do the Raiders finish with the worst record? Eagles, I know people are calling this like the collapse of 2 years ago. It's not for this reason. Raiders, Washington, Buffalo, Washington. They're going to win 3 of their last 4 games. They're going to win. They're going to win 11 games. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the division. They're not going to get to the Super Bowl, but they are going to play. The defense is playing well. The offense and what's going on with the quarterback is very puzzling. And obviously the malcontent in Brown. Cards, playing out the string, new coach, everything. Texans have won 4 straight. They've allowed 14 points. They have the best defense in the league. They have the Packers, the Chargers, and the Colts after this game. They're going to the playoffs, and they're going to be tough with that defense. Their offense is awful. Packers 9-3-1, Broncos 11-2. These teams are playing for number 1 seeds. Packers still playing for a division. Broncos have won their division, or they're on the verge of winning their division. They have a 2.5 game lead on the They have a 2 game lead on the Chargers. They want to be the 1 seed. Packers, obviously. Packers have, after this game, Chicago, Ravens, Minnesota. Denver has Jags, Kansas City, Chargers. Not easy games. Neither one is easy games. Both thinking number 1 seed, so this is a big game. It should be an interesting game. Lions at Rams. Lions are 8-5. Rams are 10-3. They have a date with Seattle next week. Big game there. Enormous game there. They're still thinking, obviously, division title. They haven't wrapped that up. They're thinking number 1 seed. They have Seattle, the Falcons, and the Cards. So if they win this week, the Seattle game will tell you whether they will win 13 or 14 games. Detroit has Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and the Bears to finish up. They're 8-5. It's a very big game. They are guaranteed nothing but I think they will make the playoffs. They will not win the division. Stafford, 35 touchdowns, 4 intercepts, to me is the MVP. I don't think there's any question about that. Unless he has a collapse, I think he's the MVP. Now, sign up for the free Mike Francesa newsletter. You'll get exclusive content, contest offers. Go to the MikeFrancesAPodcast.com and sign up. All you got to do is give them an email address, and away you go. It's free, so you can't beat that. Now, BetRivers players who place a same-game parlay of at least $10 on any NFL or NCAA game will receive an entry into the weekly Squares game. We've talked about the Squares game ad infinitum. Winning Squares can earn up to $50 bonus bets per entry. See the BetRivers app or website for details. Now, in college football this week, this is the standalone week before you get into the playoffs. Forget the bowls, they're worthless. before you get into the playoff, the 12-team playoff next week, you have Army Navy. Usually, you just throw out everything with Army Navy. Navy's a deserved 6.5-point favorite. The Army quarterback can play. The Navy quarterback is exceptional. The Army quarterback can pass a little, and he can run. The Navy quarterback can pass and run. Navy's a good team. They're a legit team. Army's not nearly as good as Navy, but that doesn't mean they can't for 1 week and having prepared and with the wrinkles, they will show you that they will not be ready. They will be ready in every way. And more time than not, this game is tighter to the vest than you would think and goes to the underdog for the most part. It's a game where you don't like to go straying from the underdog when they're getting a decent amount of points because the underdog has a habit of playing very well in this game. And to me, it's a game that I was honored to do for CBS a couple of times. I've been to probably 5 or 6. I worked, I think, the Army Navy game 4 times for CBS. It's a great spectacle. There's 2 things in college football I've told you that you really need to see in person once. One is Script, Ohio. Script, Ohio is just unbelievable. Number 2 is to get into the building early if you have a chance. I don't know how early. I don't know if they'll open the stadium if you're going to a game, an Army Navy game. I don't know if they open the stadium early enough to see the cadets march in. The way Army marches into the building, the precision with which and the skill with which they march into the building is something you have to see once. It's remarkable. I mean, it is utterly remarkable. It really is. It just shows you how practiced they are and how drilled they are. It is amazing to watch. I mean, if you had the vantage point of sitting up in a press box and watching them come into the building, it is utterly remarkable. I wish everybody could just see it on TV. I mean, there's got to be a video of it somewhere. It is unbelievable. There's a video of everything now, so I'm sure there's a video of that. Panthers and Saints. Now, the one time I picked the Panthers, who are 7-6 and have had a good year and are right in the thick of things, and they have 2 games left with the Bucks. The one game I picked them in the picks this year, they were favored to beat the Saints, and they got bombed by the Saints in their building, destroyed. The Saints have only won 3 games. They've only won 3 games. I mean, but they tore Carolina apart when they played them. Now you get a rematch in New Orleans. Carolina has Bucks, Seattle, Bucks. Saints are happy with Chuck at quarterback. They really think they have found the quarterback in Chuck. I told you last year that the Giants like Chuck a lot. Chuck was moving up the board. Well, the Saints really like Chuck a lot. He played really well last week in their win. See, the Panthers need to get this game. They need to show a maturity before they play the Bucks twice in the last 3 weeks, which will decide the division title. They need to prove they can show a maturity and win the game they're supposed to win. They couldn't do it at home against Saints. They can't this year where they're trying to get to the playoffs, lose 2 games to the 3-10 Saints. They cannot. They got beat bad the first time. Titans at 2-11. Niners are 9-4. What a year. The Niners, if they hadn't lost so much on defense, you could start to really make a case for them. That's how good they're getting things pieced back together on offense. They have the Colts, the Bears, and Seattle left. The Colts We don't know what's going to go on with them. We don't even know who's going to quarterback. Let's see what happens in Seattle this week. Then they play the Bears, and then they play Seattle. Colts are in Seattle this week. They are 14-point underdogs. That team has a lot of talent. If they can get anything, now Seattle's a good team. They're highly underrated and they're tough at home. They're 10-3. They are good defensively and they can throw the ball, as we know, with Donald and his bevy of receivers. They've been underrated all year, but they're a very solid team. The Colts are trying to hang on to this season with the losses they've had, including the loss of Daniel Jones. I don't know what they're going to wind up doing at quarterback this week. Can they get anything? Remember, this is a team that has Taylor. This is a team that has talent. This is a team that has explosive offensive players. Great running game. Can they get anything out of the quarterback position at all these next couple of weeks? That's what it comes down to. Sunday night, Minnesota, the Vikings, and the Cowboys. Cowboys are 6-1, coming off that very tough loss to Detroit. They have the Chargers. They have Washington. They have the Giants. If they run the table, you get to 10-6-1. Eagles, unless they lose to the Raiders, Washington, they play Washington twice and the Raiders. They have to lose one of those games. They have to lose this week. They have to lose, to Buffalo in week 17. And then they have to lose to one of these bad teams, the Eagles. Get beat twice in the last 4 games for the Cowboys to do anything. And that's with the Cowboys winning all 4 games. Now, the Cowboys have, like I said, the Chargers, then at Washington, they close at the Giants. The Giant thing will be fascinating. If they are mathematically alive for the playoffs going into that game, can you possibly imagine how many Cowboy fans are going to be at Giant Stadium? It will be something the Giants will absolutely detest. Can you blame Giant fans in this season selling their tickets to Cowboy fans who will pay anything for them if their team is alive? Now, if their team is out of it and this game doesn't matter except for bragging rights, unless Dart has been putting on a magic show the last 3 weeks, I don't see a lot of Giant fans flocking to this game. And I don't think the Cowboy fans will be nearly as passionate if they're eliminated. So it really matters whether if for this building to be filled, it's going to be filled with Cowboy fans. Otherwise, it's not going to be full. That's what it comes down to. The Monday night game is the Dolphins at 6-7 against the Steelers at 7-6. Steelers beat the Ravens last week. Metcalf went in the hospital. They think he can play this week. Suffered a stomach injury. Ashawn sat out last week with a rib injury against the Jets. He went out in about 5 minutes left second quarter. I know if you took Ashawn over, as a lot of people probably did in those totals and stuff, they probably got screwed. But what can you do? He surpassed the rushing one. He didn't surpass the receiving one or the total one because of the fact that he didn't play it. He only handled the ball 8 times in the game. I'm sure Ashawn's okay. I didn't think he was that badly hurt. He was standing on the sideline in his gear. I don't think he was that badly hurt. I think he probably could have played if the game had been one they needed him to play in. Miami has Cincinnati, Tampa, and the Pats. They're 6-7. If they ran the table and went 10-7, I don't think they'd get in because their conference record is so bad. So they're not eliminated yet, but I think they'll be eliminated with any one loss, and I doubt they'll run the table. And if I think it would take them to run the table to have even to stay alive. And I think their chance to make the playoffs is minuscule because their conference record's 3-6. Um, Pittsburgh has Detroit on the road, Cleveland on the road, which is never an easy game for Pittsburgh, and then Baltimore. Very tough games. And this Miami game won't be easy. Miami's playing much, much better, and the Detroit and the Steelers defense is not great. And Miami can, they like I said, they've won 5 of their last 6 games. People buried the coach. The coach is now 6-7. Everybody had him, out of the building. There were reports, "Oh, he's gone Tuesday." Well, he didn't go anywhere. And you know what? They're winning. And they're playing well. And they haven't had Hill all year. And they've had a lot of injuries. Ashawn's had a brilliant season. Tremendous player, highly underrated. Highly underrated. I mean, he doesn't get anywhere near the acclaim. His numbers are outstanding. I mean, he's got over 1,000 yards receiving. He's got over 400 yards. Over 400 yards receiving and over 10,000. 1,050 rushing. He's got like double-digit touchdowns. I mean, the guy's a wonderful player. He really is. And they've done a good job. And nothing's easy for the Steelers. That's all there is to it. So it's some really big games. Bills and Pats. We're going to learn something about the Bills. We're going to learn something about the Pats. Lions and Rams. Can the Lions hang in this game with the Rams on the road? Can the Panthers win in New Orleans after they got buried by the Saints earlier this year? Do the Colts have anything? Can they get anything out of the quarterback position as this team slides and slides and slides as they go to a very tough place to play in Seattle? And Seattle and the Rams getting ready for next week's battle, which is going to, first of all, Seattle turned the ball over repeatedly against the Rams, and the game was still close. And they thought they should have beat the Rams. And they said, "We're targeting that game in December in our building. We can't wait till we play them again." Well, next week's that week, and that's going to be an enormous game. Chargers and Chiefs. Chiefs, you saw them playing desperately the other night. You'll see them playing desperately again because, as Andy Reid said, hey, a lot of crazy things happen in this league. If we run the table with 4 games, who knows? And who knows? They might get in. You never know. You never know when the ball is going to bounce the right way. But before they can even think about it, they have to beat the Chargers this week. The Chargers won a gutty, bloody, ugly, messy turnover play game against the Eagles the other night. But give their quarterback credit for being valiant. I mean, if you watch them, that was a gutty performance. Any way you slice it, that was a gutty performance. Ravens and the Bengals. Bengals are dangerous with Burrow, but what's going on in Burrow's head right now? Be one of the big stories going into Sunday. What's going on with Burrow right now? What are the off the field issues? What is going on? He kind of opened the door a little bit to and probably started a lot of speculation about what is going on in his life. Is it the pain? Is he worn down by the injuries? Is he just frustrated by losing? Is it that or is it something else? Remains to be seen. 4 weeks to go. Now, every game, alive, stay alive, try to stay alive, fight to stay alive. That's where a lot of these teams' fortunes are right now in the league. 4 regular season. As we head towards the holidays, 4 regular games to go starting this Sunday in week 15. We'll see you later.